Is my mic on? Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. No, because last week it wasn't on.
It's on. Well,
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Benfica Podcast, the Talking to the Law Benfica Podcast, the best and only Benfica podcast in English, coming to you live every week with all talk about Benfica. With me tonight, Cristiano Oliveira.
Olá, senhoras e senhores, e bem-vindos mais uma vez ao programa do Benfica Podcast, número 1, dos Estados Unidos e pelo resto do mundo.
E arredores.
Hey, that word's too big for me.
Uncle Steve is in Cali, so he's not here today. So we brought in two people because Steve is worth that many people.
You need two reforços to replace him.
Mr. Mario Mota, who is in Canada.
Hey, fellas.
And Mr. Timo, making his second appearance. What's going on, buddy?
Thanks for inviting me and inviting the beard.
Yeah, what glorious beard like that, we had to invite you,
I mean,
man.
Timo, not to knock you, but the beard was the main reason we had you come on. Just saying.
I figured as much. I figured as much.
It'll definitely drive up the YouTube hits. Just saying.
For the ladies. Maybe
it's the shirt, though.
The shirt. That shirt's tight, man.
That's a beautiful shirt.
For those of you guys listening, for those of you guys listening, Timo is on Benfica's alternative shirt, the beautiful White Fly Emirates shirt, official, if I may add, not the Chinese version.
And just so you know, these little stripes in here, they're not really a different material, they're just ventilated. That's why it looks like stripes.
Inside news right there, bro.
Yeah, so
there you go.
If you get the alternative shirt, you'll be extra ventilated. Call it AC for the body.
So for those of you that don't like to wear deodorant, a little bit of help, even though I advise you to wear deodorant.
The ones that have a sweater underneath also.
The bear rug.
I'm still
needs some ventilation.
I'm still waiting for Adidas to send me my my replica.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
So anyway, on tonight's podcast, we will just we're gonna try to keep it upbeat. I know that's been a rough preseason, but we got our first official game of the year coming up this Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? Sunday, right? For the Super Cup against Sporting, against JJ.
Yeah, against JJ.
And we got to be upbeat. All right, let's just talk about the preseason in general. Benfica played their last game this past
Tuesday night.
Was it Tuesday night?
Monday night, Sunday night? Yes, Sunday night. No, Monday night.
Monday night?
Sunday night, the 3rd.
Well, it was sometime at night, but it wasn't last night.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway, 3-0. Benfica comes out of the preseason without winning a single game. I think last season we won one game.
At least we won one.
And, at least we didn't play against B teams. We didn't play against teams from Switzerland that we never heard of, that are sponsored by Swiss cheese.
There's obviously a lot of negatives you could take from this tour here so far. But the one good thing about this, if you do believe in track records, right? Benfica, the 3 times they've lost the Taça Eusebio, they turned out and won the Campeonato the following season. So, I mean, that's the one positive to take from it. But besides that, I mean, I don't think there's anything positive to take from it. I mean, Benfica just looked out of whack. Okay, I understand different time zones and got a brand new.
Não vais por aí.
Epa, tô na moto do Mario, man. I'm ready to go.
Não vais por aí. I'm ready. I know there's plenty of people just want to take on the negative stick and just beat everybody with the negative stick. Let's not go that way. Preseason, as far as I know, it doesn't count for anything. You don't get no prizes for preseason. I understand that perhaps the showings weren't the best. We didn't really notice a progressive evolution as far as the team goes, as far as the system goes. But hey, you're playing in Monterrey, which is like 50 degrees in a shade, humidity. You're playing at America at 2,000 feet above sea level. You're playing in the U.S. against the team that's mid-season form, so on. So there's plenty of excuses.
I'm glad you're saying this because I've been waiting to come on this podcast to say this right here, what I'm about to say. I haven't even shared these thoughts on Twitter. And the reason is I knew that you were going to say something like that. Whomever else was going to be on this podcast was going to try to flip this into some sort of, we're on the road, it's preseason. That's fine. You know what? If this was last year, I would have said, okay, the fact that there is a brand new coaching staff. The fact that we don't know much about this coach. We don't know if his tactics are good. We don't know nothing about this guy. I don't care what he did at Guimarães. The fact remains he has not done it at a big club like Benfica, and until he does, we don't know much about it. So therefore, to me, it's a negative. Because For Christ's sake, we play the freaking Red Bulls.
Right.
Come on,
the
bro.
The other thing you got to take into
Hold on,
consideration.
didn't the Red Bulls win another game against another pretty big team too?
With their B team.
C team.
With the C team, not even their B team. But anyway, what I wanted to say, and I lost it. I lost my train of thought.
That they were playing.
No, the thing is that the preseason, what you guys have to understand, this preseason wasn't planned by Vitória. Okay, Vitória inherited this preseason. I know that the 3 million euros or whatever it was speaks a lot louder than anything else for a team that, quite frankly, is not oozing money, is not shitting money, or money isn't falling off the trees like we see in Alvalade and like we see up in Porto. So the 3 million obviously was important. Now the guy is handed this preseason. Perhaps I'm looking at a preseason. Perhaps if the players are not for such a long time far away from their families, at a different time zone, different temperatures, different things. I think that it was a long time for the players to be away, and I don't care whatever way you flip it. I think that it wears on the player's psyche. It's tiring to be away from the family. I think it's very tough.
Barcelona does it every summer. Real Madrid does it every summer.
Oh,
Manchester United does it every summer.
This guy's spot.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean,
Go ahead,
you got an
Mario.
excuse for
All
everything.
right,
Mario's gonna jump.
Let me add some stuff here then. So in looking at preseasons, I think they're purely meaningless. If you look at past results, obviously I'll compare last year. We won twice last year against Estoril and Sion from Switzerland. If you're not beating Estoril and you're not beating Sion, the little car from France or wherever the hell it's from, that's shit. But we lost 6 games, conceded 14 goals, and we still did quite well in the league. If you look at a few years back, we actually had 9 games in the preseason. I think it was 2013. Had 5 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss, and we won nothing that year. I think maybe we won a League Cup. So it kind of goes to show that you can have a good preseason and come out with shit throughout the season, a bad preseason and come out with titles. So I agree with Crystal in the sense that none of us have really seen Vitória at a big club, so you feel kind of anxious, you feel nervous. But we still have the right tools to win. Now it's just going to be this weekend, which we'll probably move on to in a bit. But
it's a huge question mark, guys. I mean, we knew what we were going to have. We knew what we were going to do with JJ. Whether we'd win a preseason game or not. I mean, you guys are correct. Preseason is meaningless at the end of the day. But when you get in these results, it does not look good for you, and especially when the fans have, like myself, have so many questions regarding the new coaching staff. Not just the coaches that we lose our starting right back, we lose our starting striker. We have not replaced these guys. Of course, we're going to ask questions, and a lot of us will be concerned, as I am, especially when your 2 main rivals have done nothing but strengthen themselves. So, yeah, I mean, excuse me for asking questions and saying that I don't think they played up to par. I mean, let's not forget, not only did they drop these games, in the win-loss column, but they didn't look good. It's not like they look great out there.
But let me ask you something.
I'll say the first half of some of these games we looked
in
okay.
Spurts. In spurts.
Yeah, but let me ask you something, Cristiano. What worries you more, losing a coach and 2 guys, or losing 8 players out of the starting 11 last year?
But the difference is you had the stability. You knew exactly what you were going to get from the coaching side. It was a lot.
You don't have the stability with the.
You don't have stability when you lose that many guys. You lose your stability. Your stability doesn't come from the coach. Your stability comes from the main 11. When you have 8 guys on your main 11 that are gone, you only have 3 guys that know how to play the system. You now have 8 new players that don't know the system.
Guys,
you can't go that way, Cristiano. You can't.
Guys, they lost 8 players last year. In reality, though, they only had to replace 2 from outside, which is Jonas and Samaris. The rest of the guys were in-house. They knew exactly what JJ wanted from them. That knew the system. That had been in that formation for years. Guys, that's what you see. Yeah, they lost 8 or 9. Only 2 guys. The rest were in-house.
But they didn't have Europe to contend with?
Why not? They had Champions League to contend with.
Barely. I think they just went and showed themselves. They really do anything?
They still had it, though. That's the point. They still had it. And we're going to have it again this year.
Right.
See, here's my thing. That's fine. You guys want to poo-poo this? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. We throw up a stinker on Sunday. I mean,
come on, man.
You're not gonna want to. Okay, that's fine.
That's maluco.
Eu estou sempre maluco. You guys just keep.
That's
keep
maluco,
it man.
You
That's
fine.
Hold on.
No, I'll throw something in there. I'll say.
Wait till we get to that game.
Yeah.
Listen,
we'll
I can only speak about what's happened until now.
Yeah.
And right now it hasn't looked good. And if any of you think it's looked good, you guys haven't been watching the same thing I've been watching.
Nobody's going to say it has looked good. But in the preseason, though, we don't win anything in the preseason. There's no, it's all. This is all for the fickle people, the negative Nellies to pick on this and just be in an absolute negative wave. We haven't bought anybody. We haven't won a game in preseason. Our main rivals have done. We have bought this and have bought that and have done this and have bought that. Fine, let them buy. Let them pay. Let them buy guys for millions of dollars. Pay them millions of dollars. If you ask me, the pressure is all on them, none on us.
The pressure in Portugal will always be on Benfica. They're the biggest dogs in the park.
Yeah, but we're not the ones that spent millions on players.
But Benfica has the pressure every year to come in there and compete for a title. This is the reason why you've never seen Benfica retooling. Just go young and keep all the promote all the guys from the B team. Benfica has a responsibility to compete for a title every year, so they have pressure now. Do the other clubs have pressure? Absolutely. But to say the pressure's all on them, I disagree with that. I think the pressure Benfica has, it's the biggest team in Portugal. They're always going to have pressure on them. Yeah. Now, I do agree, and I think this is where all three of you guys aren't at least understanding what I'm trying to say. I agree with all three of you that the preseason is freaking meaningless. But at least give me something. They haven't given me anything. They have not looked good.
Yeah, they give you Smith.
And then Smith was the only one guy, and I told you I was impressed. But now, aside from Smith, okay, the question that I have is the new coaching staff. I knew that under JJ, they could lose every single game. I knew what to expect come week 1. I don't know what to expect with this guy. And that's what worries me. And that's what I want you guys to understand. It's not the results. Okay, fine. Preseason is preseason. Like last year, we won one game. We looked terrible, got smacked by Arsenal and everybody else. Ultimately, we won the title. So nobody remembers the preseason. But we knew what we had with JJ. There was no question mark.
Not really.
Oh, my God. Not really.
Going into the season, we thought we had
JJ. I said JJ.
Going into the season, we thought we had the worst team of the three. We thought we had the worst team of the three.
But definitely.
We thought that.
No. Hold on. Let's go back to some of those podcasts. There was a lot of negativity. I remember the three of you guys. I remember the three of you sitting on this pod, all discussing who had the better team between Porto and Benfica.
Yeah, Porto.
And by far, Porto was ahead.
We picked 8 of the 11 starters. We said Porto.
Well, that's the thing. We have to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Timo, for you.
He did well. Go ahead.
Thoughts on this preseason?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thoughts on this preseason?
Exactly. I do agree with Cristiano. I mean, we didn't play well. We had spurts where we actually looked pretty decent. Semedo was the guy that I said he better be starting at right back. He looked like he wanted to be there. He looked like he was actually trying. To me, he kind of looked like a young Nelson from 7-8 years ago, whenever the hell Nelson was with Benfica.
But Nelson couldn't defend for shit, man.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Semedo looked like he could defend a little bit better. When we had our starting, what I was going to be our starters, for the most part, I think we looked okay. Passing, definitely a lot better, a lot crisper from certain players named Jardel and Talisca. Talisca's passing in this whole preseason of the games that I did see while I was on vacation, he just looked like he knew where to go with the ball. He wasn't trying to do too much. I know he tried taking too many shots, but then again, who else was shooting? One. So I'm okay with that. The preseason doesn't mean anything to me. We got $3 million, and at the end of the day, we're gonna win it all. So that's all that matters.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I sat at Red Bull Arena right next to Alfredo and Steve, and not just myself. I believe most of us here. It was the first time we saw Semedo playing, definitely live. Okay, yeah. It was the first time I had seen the kid, and because it was his first minutes of the whole tournament, of the whole tour, and I seen the kid playing, and I remember turning to him like, "Yo, I like what I see." And the whole time, the guy's quickness, his speed, and he's got some ginga, for a right back, he's got some ginga, and I fell in love with the kid. Now, I was impressed with him, okay, and I hope he does start. And I remember turning to Alfredo and saying, Alfredo, it'd be a funny thing if Benfica at the end of the day balked on re-signing Moxie because they knew that they had the answer. And remember, I said that to you. And if that's their reasoning, you know what? I'm gonna give him a pass because the kid looked great. Now, it was one game. Okay, I've only seen him one game. I haven't seen him again because I didn't get to watch the other two games. So from what I saw in one game, I really liked what I saw. Now, if that's what he's going to give you on a consistent basis, I love him. Starting my right back. Now, they know better than I do, but my only point was if they let go of Moxie because of this kid and this kid's this good, I understand why they did it, so.
Mario.
Yeah, no, you know what? I don't think it was a horrible preseason. Like, I look at the game I was at, and I saw you guys there, was the PSG game. The first half, we dominated that game. We were in their end the whole time. We had, like, majority possession, double the shots. We were attacking. I think we played well. Fiorentina, he tried more of a defensive mindset with two defensive midfielders. It wasn't a pretty game, but it was a pretty balanced game, I felt. I think they did well. I found once you bring on all the other substitutions, it all felt fucking crap, to be honest. Yeah. Which other teams were able to manage once they made those substitutions, so I don't know if that was just poor judgment or poor instructions given. And one thing I kind of, Talisca played all right. I found in the Monterrey game, him on that type of winger position, because he has a natural pull to the midfield. There's a couple times where Nico would actually swing to the right side. And the commentator made a point that Vittorio was on the sidelines trying to get Nico to go back in his position and Talisca to get back in his position. So I don't know if Talisca's not feeling that type of position or if the idea is he's supposed to rotate between him and Pizzi a bit more, but that's something they got to work out, I think, a bit more.
I think that they're shoveling Talisca down our throats. I still haven't. I understand that he's got a shot, he's got dribble. I think he's not the proper guy to play in that outside position, even though he comes to the middle. He wasn't too bad. I mean, I think as far as the physical level, he's probably a couple steps above everyone else, like he was last season. But I don't know. I'm still out on Talisca. I've still yet to see Talisca in a position where I think I'm going to find him the most useful for.
And before we all get excited about the way Benfica played against Paris Saint-Germain, let's not forget. Let's not forget. They had like 3 regulars on that team playing the whole game. I mean, the rest are all like 18 and 19-year-olds. So let's not. Listen, I spit facts. That's all I do, and that's a fact. Now, did Talisca did good? Yeah, Talisca looked good, I should say. Did Talisca do good? Yeah, he did good, and he had a couple nice shots. But let's not forget, we're playing against a bunch of juniors. It is what it is, man. I mean, listen, Talisca, he's going to play. They're going to force him into this lineup. I do not like to see him on the right side, and I've shared that opinion with you multiple times because the kid has he has no right foot whatsoever. So I don't want this guy to stop a counterattack because he has to stop the ball, switch back to his left, and then cross it back because he has no right foot. He can't cross on the run on the right side. So that's why I don't like to see him there because he doesn't have a right whatsoever. So I don't want to see him there.
We have a problem there. We have a problem on the right either way because without Salvio, nobody has a right foot. Carcella's all left.
Same thing. Yeah, Carcella's all left. He's all left.
The whole time. The only one who is a right-footed player is Andre Almeida, and he doesn't really offer you too much, on the crosses. Every time he went to cross the ball, he got cut off by whoever was defending him. Every single time.
Well, that's okay. We sent later to Monaco. That's all right.
I know. And he looked. Did you see the goal he scored today?
Yep.
He had a great goal today.
Right, but he was on the left. And he scored with
he was. And he scored with his right foot.
Anyway, I'm ready to put a stone on top of the preseason. Any final thoughts on preseason, Cristiano?
Yeah, I mean, preseason's gone. I mean, sayonara, peace out. I did not like the results. I didn't like the way we played. Now, going into the Supercopa, Supertaça, whatever you want to call it, hey, I hope they get their shit together, and I hope that Vittorio is the right man for the job. Now, if we lose, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So don't expect me next week to come here with smiles. I mean, I wasn't all smiley today anyway, so I miss the negativity most of the time. So
even if we lose, we don't get any points
in
the championship.
That's fine. So for you, at no point, regardless. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether the team looks good or not. Just go into and then we lose the first game, second game we tie, and then it's like,
Listen to me.
And then it'll be December, right? And we haven't looked good yet, but hey, let it go.
The Supertaça is the reason why Porto has as many trophies as we do.
Tava aí, meu. Come on, bro. Não digas que não queres ganhar essa taça.
Yeah, I want to because of the game, who it is against. I want to because,
So then let me ask you a question. So Benfica loses the game come Sunday.
Yeah.
1-0, 5-0, whatever the score is. Doesn't matter. At what point are you going to start getting concerned if Benfica doesn't win games? At what point?
4 games into the season.
So if we lost the first 4 games of the season, that's when you're concerned?
Yeah.
So the first 3, you'll still be okay?
Yeah.
Because Porto is going to lose 3 games. They didn't lose 3 games all last year, but they're going to lose it this year in Sporting.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Well,
3-4 games into the season is when I will start getting worried, especially because of the opposition that we're gonna play.
And that'll be too late.
Then
and because of that same opposition, it'll be too late.
No, because I'm confident that it's not over yet. I forgot to look this up. I wanted to look this up to see when the last day is to sign players for the Champions League first the group stages.
Like
I think it's
August 34, whatever it is.
No, it can't be September 1st because we signed Jonas and he couldn't play.
But we signed Jonas after September 1st on a free transfer. So on a free, you could sign him in October.
Is that what it was?
Yes, because he was free. We could sign him in whenever we want. Now, when a player is contracted by another club, you have to get him in because you have to reach an agreement.
I understand.
Now, as a free agent, you could bring him in whatever. So Jonas came in after September 1st.
Mario, final thoughts on the preseason, just so we put this behind us.
Yeah, you know what? In the future, I don't want to see the Zebi Cup in other countries. You know, the fact we didn't really have a presentation game, you know, in our stadium before the season kicked off, because really our first presentation game is going to be when the league starts, when we're playing at home eventually, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to kind of have that presentation game, introduce all the players, you know, give everyone a good run, let the fans kind of, cheer the team on and give them a good kicker before the season starts. And I felt the Zebi Cup was that type of game to do that. I felt like it was Monterrey's stadium opener. They put a great show before the game. That was pretty impressive, the late show and their support. But it didn't feel like our cup. I know Zebi played there for a little bit, but I don't know if their fans really appreciate that match either, right? So it kind of loses a bit of its value. I remember the first few seasons of that cup when you had some of the big teams we've had. I don't like the idea of kind of diminishing. I hope next season they have a good quality team at home. It's our opener. And kind of keep it as some of that special that we reserve for like a big game.
Mario,
I know it's preseason. That's what I want.
I agree 1,000%.
I agree with you with as far as the Zebi Cup remaining in Portugal. I have nothing against that. The thing is that, like I said, this preseason was inherited. I think that by design and the way things worked out, they didn't have any room to get a Zebi Cup in there. They were playing with Monterrey. They were invited to inaugurate Monterrey Stadium. Somebody came up with the idea, look, we got no more games to play or we got no time to play. Let's play in Monterrey. There's obviously a connection there with the Zebi Cup. But here's the thing. You look back at perhaps the past 3 editions of the Zebi Cup, and you go look at the attendance. I believe they had a little bit over 30,000 last year when they played Ajax. So what's the point of having it in Portugal or not creating enough buzz for that game when you're not going to fill the stadium, even if it's known as the game that's going to be the introduction of the pool team?
You know how you fill the stadium in the Zebi Cup? It's easy. Vamos apresentar jogador novo. And that'll pack up.
No, but also the other thing is, in past seasons we still had the Zebi Cup and also a presentation game. Like we didn't do it one in the same.
Right.
So I think we need to consolidate that. Do it as like that's your presentation game, that's the Zebi Cup, and present the player. That'd be nice.
I think
my first game I ever went to a Estadio de Luz, I believe it was 7 or 8, whatever. Regardless, was 09. Benfica, Atlético Madrid, Simão's first game for Atlético Madrid, and o jogo da apresentação, Javi Garcia. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I mean, that was my first game there, so it's a memory that I'll always have.
I just want to add one quick thing. I was looking back on some of the past preseasons, kind of do some comparisons earlier, but I found there's a lot of preseasons in recent years. We were starting at the beginning of July. This is probably the latest preseason we've had in years. I don't know why, if that was by design, because I know even PSG had already played a game the previous week before even coming to Portugal. There's a few other teams that started playing like a week and a half earlier. So
Mario,
maybe it's because of the coach situation.
Mario, don't forget they went a couple weeks there with the whole JJ leaving, Victoria coming. But they had no. See, I think that's another thing. With the stability of a coaching staff, you could kind of plan ahead. The fact that the coach wasn't there, you couldn't start making decisions.
I think that the start of the preseason was already established even before last season ended, because that's when they start. The first week of July, that's when they start.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about games. I'm talking about actual matches.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, games, not preseason. Preseason starts that first week of July when the players all report. Yeah. But I thought you were talking about games.
I thought they could have probably gotten another game in before the PSG game.
But that's what I'm saying. Due to the fact that they went back and forth on the coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
It didn't have that time to because they didn't want to have, obviously, JJ, who's They knew. Benfica knew they didn't want him back because they were trying to get him a team outside of Portugal. So they knew he wasn't good. They weren't going to let him start. I'm answering this question, bro.
No. But I agree with you. But as Alfredo said, this is planned well in advance. And well in advance, they should have planned like like
but it's not planned in advance, Mario. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not. It's not, especially when they know the coach is on the way out. That's why I'm mentioning the coach. They knew. Benfica knew that JJ wasn't going to come back. They anticipated.
Yeah, even if the coach was gone, they could have started the first match with a third division small side in Portugal. Regardless, they knew someone was going to be there.
Mario, but what if
the B team?
What if your new coach wants that time to practice and implement a system and get the guys on the same page?
Cancel on that third division club. Who the hell cares if you hurt their feelings?
Well, then for that, Mario, just play your B team. You get a lot more competition out of your B team than you get out of a third division club, Mario. For that.
Timo, I'll give you final thoughts on the preseason before we get into Nelson's halftime headlines.
So just to go on what Mario was just saying, with adding another match, when did we actually get switched with Porto to take over their spot?
Very late.
So I think that may have been an issue, along with the whole coaching change, and trying to get all that travel planned and everything. Yeah. To bring them all over to the U.S., start their training, because at that time, I don't really think Benfica had any trainings back home. I think maybe one or two before they took off.
No, they had, bro. Their first game was the 18th. They started on the 4th, so they had 2 good weeks of just amongst themselves.
But originally, they were supposed to. They had England. They had England booked. They
had the England booked. Exactly. Great point, man. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think
they had to cancel that, and they sent the B team instead, right?
Yes.
I think the planning and the timing and the logistics of all of it, I think it kind of like we did what we needed to do for the money. Was it optimal? Maybe not. But I think that at the time we did the best of what we could do as far as what the scheduling goes and the logistics of it.
I still don't think it was a money thing. I still think it was a coaching staff thing. Because even if it was the money thing, that would have been planned ahead. That was a last spur of the moment type of thing. They planned ahead. And going into England, that's what they anticipated doing. But I think that the whole coaching staff kind of caught them off guard. And because that took at least a week and a half, 2 weeks, until that whole situation sorted itself out. And I think that was the time that had they had a coach, they would have been planning, and they didn't. And I think that kind of threw them all out of whack. And then the coming to the United States thing, the pro came up, and
I think that they announced Vitória like a good 2 weeks before the season started.
Yeah, I just told you, the 4th they reported. That's when the players reported for who's met the exams and whatever. And then they came over the day before the 18th, because they played in Canada on the 18th, the 24th in Connecticut, 26th in New York. So they came the 17th, that Friday. Yeah. They arrived that Friday night, and then they played Saturday morning. So they had a good 2 weeks of training, but that's what I was trying to tell Mario. There are coaches that want to play games against whomever, third division, Benfica B, under 14, under 12, whatever, and there are coaches that want that. The JJ is one of those guys. He wants that time with his players in order to implement the system, get them up to form, and it just looks like to me Benfica wasn't ready. Either some guys were out of shape. The system was, I don't know, he was experimenting. That's fine. That's fine. If that's his reasoning, that's fine. But that's why I come away from this preseason not impressed.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into Nelson's halftime headlines. We'll break here for just a little bit. Ready?
All right, follow.
And now, the halftime headlines.
And we kick off this week looking at one of the key cogs that helped Benfica to win o bicampeonato. Rodrigo José Lima dos Santos, or better known to us as Lima, has parted ways with the club in a €7 million move to Al Ahly Dubai FC. The 31-year-old was an aging commodity that could still play at a high level, but it seems that the offer that Benfica received was one they certainly could not turn down. He's an incredible player that will be missed at the club, and we wish him all the best. Benfica has recently made the transfer of Bilal Old Sheikh from FC Twente official. The 18-year-old is a raw, speedy, left-footed winger that seems eager to get into the club. Hopefully, he'll end up developing quicker than the recent winger brought from FC Twente, Hola, John. And we see former Benfiquista Bruno Cesar, yes, that one, make his way back to Portugal after a stint in Saudi Arabia. He's re-entering the league via Estoril after playing for Al Ali, where he netted 8 goals in 21 games. He's still only 26 years old and has plenty of slightly above average football left in the tank. And that's all for this week.
I did another one. You still ain't did shit about the other one. Got the drink, get me going bad to bad. Yeah, going bad.
I gotta be honest. I'm constantly impressed by Nelson how he's able to pronounce these guys' names.
I agree.
Anyway, so that was the halftime headlines. Always excellent as usual. So let's turn our attention now to the Super Cup, first official game of the season. I don't want to touch up on the preseason because I think we spent enough time talking about it already. But as far as expectations going into this game, Cristiano, who do you think is the favorite on here?
Right now, based on what's happened, what we've seen in the preseason, obviously Sporting, in my opinion.
Why? Because of all the signings and because
not just the signings, man. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. I will argue this till I go in the grave, bro. Okay, and that is any team, at least in Portugal, that as JJ, they're gonna have the advantage over anyone else. I really believe that. I like the players that they've brought in so far. I think that some of these guys will make a difference, and I just think that JJ is a better coach than anyone else in Portugal. So therefore, I will always give him the advantage.
Timo, what do you think, man? Going into this, are we favorites because we're the holders, or are we not so favorites because of all the moves that Sporting has done?
I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't really think all the moves that Sporting did has made them that much better than us, or even better than us. If our starting 11 is still intact, other than Maxi, obviously Salvio due to his injury, and Lima. I'm getting there. Those 3 players, if those 3 players are missing, I think we have adequate players to take on Sporting. Now, everybody needs to remember, yes, they just signed Boateng. Big freaking deal. Is he going to play Sunday?
I don't think it went through, though, by the way, Lima. By the way, somebody hit us up on Twitter saying that he failed his medical. So we don't even know if that
was psychological or was it physical?
He failed his medical. Tinham parafuso menos.
João Gomes, it seems Boateng failed his medical exam. So João Gomes at _Gomez89 _ thanks for the shout.
Faltavam 2 parafusos.
Well, even with him, look, what did Sporting do? What did Sporting do that has made them that much better than Benfica? I don't see it. I really don't see it. Their main player from last year, he's not even going to play. He's hurt. William Cavallo was hurt. What do they have? That should scare any Benfica?
Jorge Jesus, according to Cristiano.
Jorge Jesus, Brian Ruiz, that's enough. Listen, that's enough.
Brian Ruiz, what has he done in his career that's going to make us afraid?
Absolutely nothing. You'll see Sunday, though.
Exactly.
You'll see Sunday.
They still listen.
You ask me. When I talk about football, regardless, now you and I have effed around a lot, where I'm being a clown, and I'm like, I see everything through rose-colored glasses, Benfica. But now, you asking me for my honest opinion. My honest opinion, I think Sporting has done a way better job of reinforcing themselves. This is a team that Benfica, okay, let's not forget, finished 9 points ahead of them, okay? Last season, they had 10 ties. I think JJ will convert at least 4 of those 10 ties into W's. Therefore, they're right there with us, and you convert one of those ties into a W, the one against us. We're talking about Sporting being champions, not Benfica. And now they've strengthened themselves with the best coach in Portugal. They've strengthened themselves with Ruiz and other players that are upgrades over what they had last year. And to you, they're not better?
Hey,
that's fine.
Hold on. Let me cut you off here before I lose. Let me cut you off here. So, yes, they got Jorge Jesus, the one coach who always plays for a tie against the big teams. What if those ties that we had against Sporting are W's for us now?
You got a point.
JJ plays defensively against the big teams. He lucked out against Porto in one of the game at the Dragão that Lima scored 2 goals. He also lucked out that Jardel saved his ass at the Avalado. What's going to happen there? What's going to happen there? Maybe those are wins for us instead. Maybe those are wins with Rui Vitoria. You have to remember that.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a coach now that's going to take us there.
Yeah, I want to toss something in also. If you're comparing Benfica to Sporting last season, we were champions with a 70 goal differential. Sporting were third with 38 goal differential. Now you take away their best defensive midfielder that kept that team together. Yes, they got a few other reinforcements, but I think they're going to concede a few more goals. Like, I don't know how JJ is going to convert this team to be at the same level as Porto and Benfica. I still don't think. I think they'll be more competitive. I think they've improved. I think it'll be maybe a tighter race. But I don't think they're at a point where they're going to both pass Benfica and Porto. I just don't think they have it in them.
Yeah. Not to mention
they also still have Rui Patricio.
Not to mention that a lot of these new guys, they're going to need time to learn JJ's system. Exactly. When I talk about new guys, I'm also talking about the existing guys that were there. Remember how Samaris did last year until he picked up on a system. Remember that. So it's going to take him a little bit.
At that point, we could already have the whole campeonato intact.
It's a whole lot easier to tell an attacking player to just go out there and make magic happen than it is to get one to adapt to a defensive system. Just want to throw that out there, but I'm listening.
Which is what JJ plays with.
I'm just listening.
JJ is defensive. JJ is defensive, so you're making our point better.
He's defensive, okay. It's 70 goal difference, but he's defensive.
Well, he's defensive because he said goal differential, meaning they scored more goals than they allowed.
Did you ask me for my opinion?
I asked you for your opinion.
Who's got the advantage? Who's favorite coming into Sunday? My answer is Sporting.
Sporting is favorite.
Move right on along.
Regardless of Benfica being the holder.
Let's go.
History means nothing. History means nothing. It's a game. It's 11 versus 11.
Regardless of Benfica having 8 of the starters from last year.
Yeah, listen, I think Sporting is the favorite. In my opinion. Now, on paper, probably Benfica, but in my opinion...
On paper?
Yeah, on paper, Benfica probably be defended because of the reasons you give me. The history, mais velho, isto e aquilo. I think, based on what's happened so far in the last, since July 1st until this Sunday, my vote goes to Sporting.
I think we're in for a huge surprise coming this weekend.
Tá bem. Talisca all of a sudden is going to learn how to play with his right foot. Carcela is going to be lights out, and my boy Trapp is going to be 22 pounds lighter.
Olha, team. 3 batatadas a 0.
I think Timo went to Soros and got high or something, drank all the aguardente, and he's still feeling the effects. I don't know.
I did drink a lot of aguardente.
See? That's our beard group.
All right, so...
wait, you didn't get Mario's opinion. You got to get Mario.
I was going to Mario. Oh. Well, no, but Mario already said that. He took the more favorite.
Oh, we didn't let him talk.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about the goal differential. I think last year we looked stronger. Compare it. I think in terms of this weekend, this is probably the most confident Sporting I've seen in years. So I'll give them that. I think they're riding a high right now. They're going to go in guns a-blazing. And one or two things can happen. If they come in guns a-blazing, they score 1 or 2 goals on us, it's going to be like the momentum will be there. You'll feel it. But if they come in guns a-blazing and all of a sudden they can't get the ball, they can't control the game, we score a goal, and also they're like, holy shit, we're still the same team that struggled last year, that's when they'll start panicking.
Jonathan Rodriguez is going to score his first goals, right?
Yeah. Possibly. He might have, guess what? For you, Nelson Oliveira comes off the bench.
Yeah, well, exactly. Hey, listen. Listen. I hope I'm wrong, guys. I mean, I don't want anyone to listen. I know, what's his name? Mateus Madeiro is killing me. Like, this guy's all about Sporting Clube Portugal. Oh, I'm Benfica. Oh, yeah. This one. I'm Benfiquista, bro. I hope every time I root against any of my teams, okay? Whatever sport, basketball for the Knicks, Rangers, whatever. I don't want to get to American sport. But whatever. Whenever I root against, whenever I pick against my teams, I hope to eat crow. I hope I'm here Tuesday, and all 3 of you guys are killing me. I hope so. But you can't ask me for my opinion and ask me to be honest. I'm going to be honest.
No, I asked you for your
opinion. No, I'm not bashing. I'm being honest. I am also, nervous. I'm going into this game apprehensive. It's, there's a lot of guys at the Portuguese club that are Sporting fans that will talk shit all year long. So I really, really want us to win this game because it's really bragging rights till the end of the season almost, regardless of what's happening.
Yeah. I think that in a lot of Sportinguises' minds, they've already won this championship. Tá arrumado, pá. Traz as faixas, pá.
I haven't heard any of that, but I've heard excitement. I've heard excitement, and they should be excited. I mean,
they're excited.
They should be excited. They got the best coach in Portugal.
I hope that shit doesn't go wrong for them.
No, listen, it could go wrong.
I hope it goes wrong for them. It'll be great.
Absolutely. I hope it goes wrong for them. I hope JJ gets fired 6 months into the job. You know, doesn't mean that my opinion of him would change in Portugal. I still think he's the best coach in Portugal today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Wow.
But coaching.
Breaking news.
But I don't think. I think that Sporting's problem. I don't want to get too far deep into it because obviously this is not about Sporting. It's about us. I think that Sporting's problem goes beyond coaching because look, you've had a lot of coaches there, okay, that have been good coaches. Have they done anything? No. You know why? Because the structure tá podre, man. Tá podre.
You can say the same thing about JJ and Benfica.
No, because
they had a new coach every year.
Benfica's structure.
Trapattoni came in, finally won a title after 11 years because my man said, "Opa, sit back and unleash Montorra." Okay, let's be honest. That's exactly what happened. All right, and then we went through the Kiki Fonsecas and bringing in Camacho and Tony and Ria until we got this guy that I must admit, I did not like the signing. I gotta admit it.
Okay.
JJ, I hated the signing. So I'm hoping right now that same scenario works out with Vitória. I actually like the Vitória signing better than I did the JJ signing at the time. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, but I was wrong on JJ. And one thing he brought was stability. Say what you want about the guy. He brought in stability.
Hold on. I think JJ lucked out when he came on board. Look at the team he had.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Look at the team he had. I mean, how many of those players now are playing abroad? How many of those players have been sold for more than 50 million? I mean, or 35 million.
Timo, fair point.
JJ came on board to a strong-ass team.
I agree.
That's fine. You're right. And I'm not. You're right.
And
you can't deny that he brought in stability.
But you're saying, yes, you're saying he is the best coach in Portugal. He became the best coach in Portugal because of the teams that Benfica put in front of him. Okay? Now, Rui Vitória last year did fairly well, or the past couple of years did fairly well with a much weaker team, right?
Yeah.
Give him the same horses. How good is he going to be?
I think
you never know.
I'll say this.
JJ is the best. I do agree. JJ is the best. I agree with that.
You guys are navigating the whole conversation to fit it, whatever it is you're arguing, you're making. My only argument is that until he came to Benfica, there was a lot of the same BS that's going on at Sporting, which is firing coaches and bringing in high-priced stars that didn't do crap until he came to Benfica. You're right. He inherited the best team he had was that first year. But you can't take away the fact that I'm saying that over the next 6 years, it's the most stable Benfica's been in the last 30 years. Number one, real quick, and I'm going to keep moving. Number two, 100%. I will not discredit you guys. You guys are 1,000% correct. That team he had that first year was sick. But we all know, we all sitting last year. The reason why I'm in love with JJ is not what he did the 5 previous years. It's what he did last year. Because I myself sat there and I picked 8 of the 11 starters. I would have taken Porto's. And every single one of us, and anyone that knows anything about soccer, will tell you, you swap coaches, you put Lotopegui and Benfica, you put JJ at Porto, they're champions. And that's why I value that.
Because I
think what he did with that team last year, there is no coach in the world, and I know it sounds crazy, you guys are like, but I mean this. There is no coach in the world that will be able to navigate the Portuguese league as well as JJ does. Now, you give Mourinho 2 seasons, fine. But you bring Mourinho today into Port, he will not know how to navigate the Portuguese like JJ does. No. And that's why I value this guy. Because I remember the last 30 years under other clowns before JJ got there. Whether you want to put it on the presidency or you want to put it on him, the fact remains that the last 6 years have been the most stable years of since, I'm a little old, but since 94, even by 94, the shit was crazy over there in Benfica.
Right.
But it's been the most stable that the club's been under JJ.
All right, but here's this, right? In his 6 years that JJ was at Benfica, do you know how many times that fans wanted his head? And you know who held on to him? That whole year that Cardoso had that spat with him at the end of the Portuguese Cup that he lost against Vitória.
Yes.
Okay. That we all thought JJ is done.
We all did.
Done.
He dropped 3 competitions in like 2 weeks.
Who held him? Who held them?
What's that got
The
to do with what I'm
structura.
saying?
The structura. If it hadn't been for Benfica's strong leadership and strong structure behind the club, JJ would have never stayed at the club, which is what Sporting has done these past 10 years. Coach after coach after coach after coach after coach.
How long has Luis Filipe been at Benfica?
12 years, maybe.
Okay, so you take the 6 previous to that. You're still firing coaches left and right.
Yeah, but he's
still
learned
firing
his
them.
lesson.
Well, he learned his lesson because he also had a guy that worked with him. Say what you want. Jorge Jesus a fala barato, but the guy knows what he's doing in Portugal at least.
Well, I don't know. I think that the structure has a lot to do with how a coach does. And Sporting has seen coach after coach and team managers. Remember when Josualdo Ferreira became the team manager? Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But anyway, look, great stuff. Go ahead, Mario.
Let me. I just want a couple quick words. Also, looking at the team itself, that first season with Benfica that Jorge Jesus had, after that season, we sold so many players for good cash, and also the preceding seasons. Financially, the club is a lot better off. We have a lot more stability at various levels. Which I think Sporting, I still don't know where the hell they're getting this cash from, but if they start performing badly, there'll be a lot of pressure, because they were a club a few years ago where they had Ricky Volkswinkel, or whatever his name was, and they sold them before the season was done. They're cheap. And the condition they got the money in advance to pay salaries. They're the club that were thinking of putting artificial grass because they couldn't afford grass.
Mario.
If they start struggling and they're looking at this price tag and they go, shit, we just paid a ton of cash. I don't care where it came from. You know, at the end of the day, they're going to start feeling some pressure.
Mario.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I hate they freaking do this, but I hope Sportuguese listen. At least we give them something good to listen to, because I'm pretty sure whatever podcast they got is whack. So if they listen to this.
They don't have one. They can't afford it.
That's why I just said it's
all the money's got
now,
the players.
Mario, in fairness, that was, listen, this president they have is a falabarat. The guy, all he does is talk garbage. But he's a businessman. If my man was able to, if he was able to get it into his head that he belongs in the suite and not on the field, I think he'd be a pretty good president, because what he's done with their debt and the whole he's been good for them. So let's not knock them. Okay, yeah, you're right. All the shit that went on before was before this guy got there. This guy's actually brought some type of stability to them, even though he seems like a wacko. He's got the team on the straight and narrow. They're in a lot better condition than they were before he got in. I mean, they were basically bankrupt before he got in. Okay, so again, it's not a sporting thing. It's not a sporting thing. It is what it is. Because I asked the same question. Portugal sells players. They're getting the money somehow. I don't know.
They're getting the money somehow. So sooner or later, somebody's gonna have to pay that money back. Somebody's gonna have to pay that money back.
But the William Carvalho tá pago, man.
That's a huge investment. Returns need to come. Even the mob needs to get paid.
You guys are all laughing at him, and I think JJ, man, I just value.
You'll finally see. I know it's not a Sporting podcast, but you'll finally see William get sold under JJ. I guarantee you.
Yeah, because JJ's smart.
Come January, everybody's gonna want William. That's how I feel.
Yeah, JJ will tell you. I'll convert Timo.
He's finally going to become the monster that everybody has expected him to become. That's how I feel.
I wouldn't put it past Sporting if they made up this injury of William Carvalho so they could hold the dogs at bay, dude. I wouldn't put it past them at all, man. But anyway, look, we're here to talk about Benfica.
Moving on.
Let's, just Timo, just real quick, man. Going into this game, what do you think? Either a win or a loss in this game. Do you think it will affect the team at all, or you think it more of the fan base than the team with a loss?
I think a loss is actually going to affect the fan base more so. I already see so many people after this whole preseason just being negative Nellies, and I'm not talking about Cristiano. I'm talking about others that I've actually called out right on Twitter. You know, it's everybody is bashing Benfica, saying, "Hey, you know what? We're going to lose. You know, we're losing. It's good as gone, or, you know, we have no chance." I mean, we have the same team that won it all last year. You know, we have, you know, the best goalkeeper. I'm sorry, Casillas, I don't want to be what everybody thinks he is. Mourinho is very smart. If he was what he was, would have been starting Real Madrid. Am I wrong?
I don't know, man.
Am I wrong? I'm sorry.
I don't want to. I don't want to discuss the Real.
Let's yo. I just want to say. I'm gonna be quiet. O gajo foi dispensado do Real Madrid, meu. Não foi dispensado no Nacional da Madeira. I mean, let's just keep that in mind. I mean, Real Madrid has the option of replacing them with the best in the world. It ain't like they're replacing them with a bum. So you can't compare guys.
Oh yeah, who'd they replace them with?
Nobody.
Who'd they replace them with?
They want De Gea. That's they'll get De Gea. That's who they. Real Madrid.
Is he there?
When they want, is it over yet? Is the transfer window over yet?
No.
Okay. Did Manchester United just not sign Romero? Yes, they did. Therefore, they know, everyone and their mother knows that it's a matter of time before the gay is gone. When Real Madrid wants you, he gets you. And it's whatever. But you're just want to throw that out there.
You're going on. All right, we're going on to two different coaches there now, but let's forget that. So I think this is going to be worse for the fans themselves, only because they're already very negative. And I think, a loss here, which is not going to happen, would totally down them completely. The team themselves, I think they're confident. I mean, they know they're under a new coach. They know they're trying to learn a new system. They know what they know. I mean, they're there. They're in training. They can see what they're going through. Obviously, there were growing pains last year, with new players coming on board, or 2 years ago with new players coming on board. It is what it is. So I think once, we actually do win and all these fans jump back on board, it's just going to give the team even more confidence.
Yeah. I'm also thinking, Mario, on the flip side, if we win, Sporting fans, das vai tudo correu.
Manda foguetes, mano. Manda foguetes.
Why not?
Manda foguetes.
If they can celebrate, why can't we celebrate?
Oh, yeah.
Vai tudo correu.
Are you asking the same question to the other two, or just moving right on along?
Timo.
Well, Timo already answered.
Mario, what do you? Obviously, I think as a Benfiquista, you got to be confident. You got to let Rui Vitória work. You got to think that all the time. Then in North America, there's good from it. As far as the physical aspect, we saw the team tired at times. Let's hope that all the tiredness was from extra physical work, so that the team could be in extra physical health for the season to come. But I'm very confident that we'll win this game. I'm liking even that people think that Sporting is more of a favorite than Benfica. I'm kind of liking that role.
Irrelevant. Your question was who's it going to affect more, and I'm going to answer the question.
I'll take a quick words then. Okay, so impacting the game itself. If they win or lose, if they win, our fan base will be ecstatic. Poking one right in Sporting's eye after they stole our coach. They'd forgive Vitória if he had a few losses right off the get-go in the season afterwards. Everyone would be, that drunk love that you'd have, because he just kicked the ex-girlfriend, in the box. If they do lose, though, I'll be very honest. If they do lose, I think there'll be less leeway at the beginning of the season for mistakes. If you have this preseason, I know people can, shorter leash. Alfredo's saying 4 games. Vitória loses the Super Cup, loses the first 2 games of the season. There'll start being a lot of. Not fired. He won't be fired. No, he won't be fired. He won't be fired. But the fans will, start making a lot of noise.
The fans are not going to give him any leeway after Sunday if he loses. Forget the first 2 games. They're going to go crazy. The fans will go crazy after Sunday.
But it's not the fans that are in charge. It's Luis Felipe Vieira.
I don't care. Luis Felipe Vieira. Listen, I played. I don't give a shit when I played. Cerros Berlin. I always wanted to win. So don't tell me if they lose again on Sunday, the players aren't going to care. The players are going to go nuts. The players are going to have doubts because not only have they just lost.
Don't care. Don't care.
Their coach.
No, they're not going to have any doubts.
They lost to it's you're listening to the wrong person. It could be any other team. If it was another Super Cup against it's because it's Sporting with JJ to lose to that.
Yes, with JJ.
It's the extra insult in a way. It's the extra saying, he's trying to affirm that he's the better coach. If he loses, the amount of credibility he loses at Sporting, not just Sporting, the amount of credibility he loses in general. He went across the street, and he loses this weekend. All of a sudden, a chunk of his credibility is out the window. Everyone's like, idiot, made a big mistake. And all the pressure's on Sporting, big time there afterwards.
All the pressure is not on Sporting. All the pressure.
I'm saying after.
Escuta, miúdo. All the pressure is not on Sporting, not even on Benfica. All the pressure going into this game is on one person. And it's JJ.
Vitória.
No,
Vitória.
No, JJ. It's JJ.
JJ. It's
I
the only
disagree.
reason
JJ will have a mental breakdown.
Timo, the only reason why there's pressure on Vitória is because he hasn't won a fucking game so far. That's why there's pressure on him, and that's why I'm so like, oh my God, we haven't won a game. Now, had Benfica won games, okay, it's another. JJ has all the pressure, just like Mario said. He loses, Sporting's gonna be like, well, wait, I thought we stole the magic potion.
By the way, we won one game.
We
We did win a game.
Penalty.
Yeah.
I'll
Is
toss
it
it
still a
away.
win? It's still a win.
The other thing that we're missing or forgetting to talk about, it's a cup final, Vitória versus JJ. Remember what happened last time? Now, we were on the losing end last time, but Vitória's going to walk in there and go, listen, I beat this guy with a lesser squad.
Yeah.
Now I got the better squad.
Yeah.
So he lost some confidence, I think.
Here's the thing that I want to tell you guys. I bet you that 63.4% of the squad is glad that JJ is gone.
No, that's Maluk, man. That's Maluk. These guys love
You think
JJ.
these guys like that
These
the guy
guys
yelled
love-
and
yes,
cursed at them?
Yes, you know why? Because you know what they love more than the guy that yells at them? Victory.
Winning?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Then I
They'll
got a
win.
guy named Victor.
They'll win, bro.
man.
They'll win.
Here's the
They'll
thing.
win.
They're professionals. Professionals, they're used to coaching, flipping out and swearing. And I mean, they're used to that. They really are. Players don't care whether or not a coach yells at them.
Not all.
Guys. Oh, no. Some, the ones that shouldn't be playing professionally. But forget them. They don't belong on the team.
No, that's unfair. That's unfair. Every guy dances to a different beat. It is what it is. There's some guys that are used to it. Like to me, like personally, I don't care. You yell at me, I'm gonna talk shit right back to you. And there's other guys that are able to get yelled at and they put their heads down, keep it moving.
And there's guys that clam up.
And there's guys that clam up because they can't take the pressure and every time they go. So it's unfair. Even professionals, man, they're human. Now, are they more prepared than you and I would be? 100%. But it is what it is, man. I think that any of these guys, they love JJ because at the end of the day, man, a coach that comes up with a scheme and these guys win. You think that when these guys are celebrating over there at the what's it called? Marquez, you think these guys give a shit about what that JJ was yelling at? You think somebody's went back, oh, yo, you yelling at me in that game. Remember when somebody's like, what did you say? Remember, their players don't care.
Samaras had no clue he was at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All that stuff is erased. All that's erased. It's thrown out the window when you win. So.
All right, let's start wrapping this up.
No, man, we got.
Let's start wrapping this up. I think we've talked about enough about JJ. I really want to talk to him about more, unless he's losing. Yeah. But all right, let's go. Let's do a little extra. Let's throw up an 11 for each one of us. Timo, you want to go first?
A lot of us.
Yeah, I'll go first. That's fine. I'll go first. Obviously, Julio Cesar. I'm going to go Semedo, Luizão, Jardel, of course, who gave up less goals than Lilo did, and Eliseu. I have to pick Samaris over Festa. Then you go Nico, Talisca in the center, Carcela, and then your two boys up front, the usuals.
Well, wait,
That's
the team you hope will play, or that's the team you think Vitória will line up?
Both. That's the one I hope will play, and that's also the one I think that will line up.
Yeah, well
so Davidou and Jonas up front.
As of right now, both Jardel and Luizão are doubtful for their game.
Are hurt. Yep.
Yeah, so we're hoping that they can recuperate. Of course, Benfica is going to close up and not really divulge whether or not they're going to be okay. I think that I don't know. I haven't read anything about Luizão's problem. Maybe Nelson can fill us in on the extent of his injury. He was touching a little bit of his sternum, so I don't know if it's some kind of an abdominal tear or whatever. Cristiano, for you, what do you think out of the 11 they're going to play?
I actually think that Timo's right on the money, with the exception of Carcela. I think Talisca will play on the right and Pizzi will play in the middle. I think that's who he's going to go with. And listen, I agree with him. I think Semedo should play. Based on what I've seen so far, he'll play. But I would not be surprised if it's Silvio. This guy is going to go with the Velha Guarda. He's going to go with the guys that he's known the most. And he obviously knows Silvio. He knows the Pizzis of the world. And he's going to play these guys because he knows them. And it's a game that's to him.
So you think Silvio on the right?
And Silvio will probably get on
Silvio
the right.
On the right over André Almeida?
I think Silvio so far in the preseason has been getting all the starts, most of the starts.
I think that he'll Mario, go ahead, and I'll give my 11.
Yeah, I think the thing with Semedo, he's a young kid. It's a high-pressure game, a bit more intense. So I wouldn't be surprised, in my opinion. You have obviously Julio Cesar, Salvio. Originally I was hoping Jardel, Luisão, and Eliseo. But the problem is that with Jardel and Luisão, if they are injured, obviously it'd be Lopez, and actually it would be probably Semides or Facia as a makeshift center back, and the other one as the defensive mid.
No.
And then obviously Pizzi, Talisca, Nico, Jonas, and Johnny Rodriguez. Now, if Jardel and Luisão are fit, I actually think he might look at the Fiorentina game in terms of, I know it wasn't a pretty game, but if you wanted to go a little defensive, you could see the whole Silvio, Jardel, Luisão, and Eliseo, and both Samaris and Facia, because it seems like it's a hard time picking which one he wants to start. So it wouldn't shock me to see both of them on the field, us with just Jonas as the main striker, and just to feel out the first half of the game, and then maybe sub one of those guys off and bring out Johnny afterwards. But I could see just a one-striker system.
Listen, I went based on what I think he's going to play. Now, what I've liked to see is Feja at 6, and I like Samaris at 8.
No.
I don't want Pizzi on the field. I like Samaris being the guy box to box. I'd rather see that than see Pizzi on the field. But now, Mario, if one of these guys can't play in the center of the park, he's going to go with Lilo. There's no way that somebody's Feja will play in the center of the defense. He's going to go with Lilo.
Yeah.
100%.
Our issue is, what if both are hurt? Now, what other center back do you have other than
Lindelof?
Yeah.
Well, he's got the option of Lindelof, which...
Or Samaris, but I think Lindelof will play.
If you're going to keep this kid on injured,
you're going to go with the Lilo and Lindelof. You could also play Andre Almeida over there and play Silvio on the right. You could do that. Makeshift Andre Almeida in the middle for one game. There's a couple of different ways you could go here, but I think he's going to keep this kid on the team. Lilo for sure. I think Lilo for sure will play. Now, the question is, if both are hurt, it'll be between somebody's Andre Almeida and Lindelof, but I think if you're going to keep the kid on the team, play him, give him some confidence. Because if one of these guys goes down, you're going to have to use him at some point in the season, so why not try to find out what you have in a player in a game that really, doesn't mean much, at least as far as the table. So play Lindelof.
I think I'm with Mario. I think that he's having a really hard time deciding whether he's going to go with Face or Samaris in that defensive midfield. What I would want for him to line up is with both side by side and then somebody on top of the triangle in the midfield. But I think that Jonas playing by himself up front perhaps is not his best. It doesn't suit his skill set playing by himself. I think that's more of a physical player, a guy that's going to fight. I think it suited more Lima than it suits Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
But he may very well load up the midfield, knowing that Sporting usually loads up the midfield. He may load up the midfield and then play with Jonas up front, Gaetan on one side, Talisca on the other side, Pizzi on top, Fesa and Samaris in the middle. I think that the defense, I think that if Luisão and Jardel are healthy, they're both starting. If not, I think Jardel seemed to be having more problems than Luisão. Might be Lisandro and Luisão. Left side, I think Eliseu is a no-brainer. I think he's going to go with him, and I think that between Almeida and Silvio, I think that's very close between those two guys. I think that Silvio perhaps is a little bit more vertical than Almeida. So with Eliseu on the other side being the vertical guy that he is, you might prefer Almeida to stay go to the right so he can stay in the back three. Also is a guy that has more height that could provide better coverage and drop ball. Dead ball situations, which we've had issues with on this preseason. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions and a lot of factors that you can throw at. I think that he may very well go with Fesa and Samaris in the midfield, and then Pizzi up front behind Jonas. I don't know.
The one thing we know is with Samaris, let's say for whichever reason, if they need the extra support up front, he can pull up. Also, if you have Silvio and Eliseu pushing up, Facia and Samaris can also pull back to help the defense. So it could work out. Hog the ball up from Sporting, frustrate them, and that's the thing. If Sporting if they're not getting possession, if they're not getting opportunities, their fans will boo them quickly. That much.
I think that. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a very interesting game. I don't think that it's going to be a one-sided game. as some people are predicting. I don't think that we're going to be that much inferior to Sporting. I don't think we're going to be inferior to Sporting at all. But we'll see. We never know. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's 11 guys against 11 guys, and the ball is round, so you never know which way it rolls. No, I can see you. Anyway, we'll start wrapping this up. All right, Cristiano, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I want Benfica to get me 2 strikers before the freaking window closes.
I think that here's the thing: Benfica is yet to hit the market.
If you get Chicharito, that means you're losing Nico. So you're really improving. I don't think so. So
I don't know.
No, you're not. You're not.
I want to find a way to keep Nico and bring in Chicharito. Then I'd be happy.
I've been saying all this time Nico's gone. You guys don't want to believe me? That's fine.
I don't know. I hope he stays, man. He stayed this long. I hope he stays. I understand he wants that pay raise and he wants to go get paid and whatnot and probably go better leagues and competition. But this is a guy I think that if he were to stay at Benfica, he'd be just fine with that as well.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
So sure I hope he stays, and I hope they do bring in 2 quality strikers because I think that's what this team needs. Now, are we a very deep team? Absolutely not. But I think the starting 11.
I don't think we're that bad.
No, I think we're good. I think the strikers is our only area where we don't have much depth. But if you look in the midfield,
I think we're
we got
deeper
lots of depth in the midfield.
I think
we got a lot of players.
Doesn't mean that
we got a lot of players. Doesn't mean that they're all quality. That's number one. Number two, we still haven't replaced the number 8 position. That's why I like to see somebody maybe give it a try. Okay, and the striker. Those are the 2 positions right now that we have the biggest question marks. And even the right winger right now, we really don't have much with the absence with Salvi's absence. We got 2 guys, Carcella and Talisca, that play there, and they really offer you nothing. So I mean, those are 3 positions that you could absolutely upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. Mario, parting thoughts, your Twitter.
Parting thoughts. You know what? I think we're going to win this game. I think it's an exciting season. Got a lot of exciting players, and there's always going to be a surprise before the transfer window ends. You know, maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be negative, but we'll fight through it regardless. Twitter-wise, you can find me at mdotm.slb. And, you can always find me at Planet Benfica also on the forums. Sometimes it gets a little quiet, but if you ever want to do a little rant, we got a match thread up there every single week for each game.
Yeah, planetbenfica.co.uk is where you could find the site and the forums. The link for the forums are on there. Mario is one of the moderators, and those guys are excellent guys. João and Manel. And definitely go on there, man. I don't know why you would be going to any other forums to talk Benfica, especially in English. You got to go to Planet Benfica. That's where it's at.
And even in Portuguese. Just write in Portuguese. We'll translate.
Yeah, that's what Google Translate is for.
Exactly.
Oh, Barbas, you too, pa.
So for me, I'm confident. I think we're going to win as long as we have a healthy team. And, for the most part, that would be the center backs. As long as they're healthy, with a healthy Julio Cesar, I think we'll be perfectly fine in the coming game and the start of the season. I want to thank you guys for inviting me on. I always love doing it. I'll come on anytime you need. My Twitter handle is @_Timo1.
Don't worry about it.
Made it shorter.
I'll DM.
Made it shorter just for Cristiano.
I'll DM you. I'll DM you the address so you can send the check to. Don't worry about it. Got you.
Nah, it's a pleasure having you guys. It's a pleasure having you guys, man. And I know that Mario's been here for quite a bit, and Timo, I know it's your second time, so I hope that now you're a little bit more relaxed. It's just people hanging out. And Cristiano at 10co10 is where you can find Cristiano. At Benfica Podcast is where you could find the podcast. Twitter and BenficaPodcast.com is where you can find this. Don't forget to check out our friends over at Planet Benfica.co.uk, as I've said, and Forza Benfica. Arrivederci.
By the way, if you guys buy me some beer.
Go ahead. Cristiano's going to be in Portugal soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Give him a shout.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
All right. Well, next week we'll be back. We'll break down. We'll break down the Super Cup, and
hopefully a Benfica win, guys. I do want Benfica to win. Don't mess this. Don't mess this up. I do want Benfica to win.
No.
Sir, I'll be rooting hard for Benfica.
I couldn't tell. Peace in the test, everybody. See ya.
Arrivederci.